The Pyrenees rise like a fortress, cradling a land where time itself seems to have stood still. Hidden beneath these rugged peaks lies one of the greatest mysteries in European history: the Basques, a people whose origins remain as elusive as the mountains they call home. Unlike their neighbors in Spain and France, the Basques carry a genetic signature that appears frozen in time, of Europe itself. Stick with us, because the deeper you look, the stranger this story becomes. The Basques resisted major genetic shifts, including the Bronze Age Indo-European migrations and 8th century Moorish presence in Iberia, remaining genetically distinct. Their unique language, Euskara, is Europe's sole surviving pre-Indo-European tongue. This isolated group, potentially Ice Age survivors, or an ancient blend of hunters and farmers, holds a secret that could redefine the early history of Europe. If you love uncovering hidden layers of human history, make sure to like this video and subscribe our channel. Your place for DNA mysteries, forgotten migrations, and the ancient roots of identity. Basque roots. Ice Age survivors. To understand the Basques, we have to step back tens of thousands of years to the Ice Age. Much of Europe was uninhabitable as glaciers carved the landscape, temperatures plummeted, and human populations collapsed. Only a few refugees remained where people could survive. One of these was the Franco-Cantabrian region, northern Spain and southwestern France, right where the Basque country lies today. The Basque ancestors survived and thrived in this region, sheltered by the Pyrenees. Archaeological finds, like 30,000-year-old cave paintings, for example, Altamira, Ekine, and 150,000-year-old Neanderthal tools at Lezetsiki Cave, attest to a continuous, resilient culture. When Homo sapiens arrived around 41,000 BC, they overlapped with Neanderthals for millennia, resulting in a genetic legacy. Modern Europeans carry 2 to 3% Neanderthal DNA. This area acted as a genetic reservoir, allowing the Basque lineage to endure the Ice Age when other populations vanished. Basque legacy. Ice Age roots to Neolithic resilience. As the Ice Age ended, a new revolution transformed Europe: farming. Around 6000 BC, Neolithic farmers from Anatolia and the Near East migrated westward, bringing wheat, barley, sheep, and pottery. Across most of Europe, these farmers largely replaced the local hunter-gatherers. But the Basque homeland tells a different story. Genome analysis of 3,500 to 5,500-year-old skeletons from El Portolón cave showed they mixed DNA from migrating Neolithic farmers and native Mesolithic hunter-gatherers. Unlike the rest of Europe, Basques retained a high proportion of hunter-gatherer ancestry, creating their distinct genetic profile. Isolation, due to the Pyrenees and strong cultural traditions, followed this initial mixing. This explains the remarkable 3,000-year genetic continuity between ancient El Portolón genomes and modern Basques, a rare level of genetic stability globally. Basque legacy, enduring Europe's ages. The Bronze Age was Europe's great turning point. Around 2500 BC, pastoralist groups from the Pontic-Caspian steppe swept across the continent, bringing with them horses, new weapons, and Indo-European languages. Their DNA reshaped populations from Britain to Iberia, but the Basques remained an anomaly. Basque genomes show almost no steppe ancestry, suggesting the Indo-European expansion halted at the Pyrenees. A key marker, the Y chromosome lineage R1b-DF27, is carried by 70 to 75% of Basque men. This lineage, which spread from a small group around 4,200 years ago, lacks diversity, leading scientists to call the Basques a living genetic time capsule. Unlike the rest of Europe, their DNA has remained stable for millennia. While minor lineages, like North African ones, exist, they haven't altered the core. Ultimately, the Basques are remarkable for their selective insulation, absorbing only what they needed to survive, while resisting the major genetic transformations that reshaped their neighbors. Euskara, the Basque language of resilience. If DNA explains how the Basques remain distinct, their language explains why. Euskara, or Basque, is Europe's last surviving pre-Indo-European language. It stands utterly alone. Unlike Spanish, French, or German, which belong to the massive Indo-European family, Euskara has no known relatives. Linguists have spent centuries trying to link it to something: Georgian, Berber, even Sumerian. But none of these theories have stuck. Euskara remains a true linguistic orphan, a fossil that has somehow survived into the modern age against extraordinary odds. Today, around 750,000 people speak Euskara across northern Spain and southwestern France. What's truly remarkable is that it splinters into at least 5 major dialects, some so different they are nearly mutually unintelligible. Despite this, the language has preserved its core structure for millennia, resisting assimilation even as Latin, Arabic, and Romance languages swept across Iberia. A 2021 current biology study showed that Euskara dialect boundaries closely match genetic clusters in Basque villages. This suggests language is not just a cultural marker, but actively reinforces population structure. Villages intermarry based on dialect, creating a powerful feedback loop between speech and DNA. Euskara's persistence through Roman and Moorish empires, absorbing almost nothing, highlights its role as a cultural shield and a living firewall that has preserved Basque identity for millennia. Basque myths, echoes of timeless resilience. Science explains survival, but myth reveals how the Basques understood their own endurance. The stories of the Basques are just as unique as their DNA and language. High in the Pyrenees, caves were said to be the home of Mari, the mountain goddess. She was not a distant deity, but a tangible presence, appearing as a woman with long hair or fire streaking across the sky. She controlled the weather, brought balance to the land, and punished those who lied. In a culture that prized honesty and resilience, Mari embodied both survival and morality. Mari and her consort Sugar, a serpent representing change and storms, embody the balance between stability and transformation, a theme mirrored in Basque genetic history. A people both preserved and adaptable. Pre-Christian Basque myth includes the Gentilak, giants who supposedly built the Neolithic and Bronze Age dolmens that remain on Basque hillsides, connecting myth with history. Other beings include the Lamiak, river nymphs, and Sorginak, witches serving Mari. These myths, tying the Basques to their land, reflect a reality now confirmed by science. The Basque people's deep antiquity, continuity, and survival. A resilience rooted in geography, identity, and belief. Basques, Europe's timeless genetic and cultural anchor. Almost every European population carries the fingerprints of migration. The people of Britain bear steppe DNA from Bronze Age herders. Italians carry traces from Greeks, Romans, and North Africans. Spaniards show genetic input from centuries of Moorish rule. In nearly every corner of Europe, DNA reads like a palimpsest, layer upon layer of migrations and mixtures. But the Basques resisted. Their DNA offers something rare, a snapshot of Europe before the Great Reshaping migrations. Geneticists often describe the Basques as a control group, a baseline against which other European populations can be measured. By comparing Basques to their neighbors, scientists can see how much mixing and replacement occurred elsewhere, and just how unusual it is to find a people whose ancestry has remained so stable for millennia. The numbers are striking. Analyses show that modern Basques still resemble Iron Age Iberians more closely than many of their immediate Spanish or French neighbors. Roughly 70% of Basque men carry R1b-DF27, the same lineage that took root more than 4,000 years ago. Genome-wide studies confirm that their overall genetic profile has barely shifted for at least 3,000 years, a level of continuity almost unheard of in Europe. And yet, the Basques are not a relic frozen in amber. They share about 70% of their genome with other Iberians. They are European, but distinctively so, set apart by the missing layers their neighbors absorbed. No Bronze Age steppe ancestry, no significant North African admixture, and little evidence of Roman genetic influence. Identity, it reminds us, is not just about what is added, but also what is preserved. This makes the Basques invaluable. For culture, they carry a different lesson, that language, geography, and identity can act as forces as powerful as armies. The Pyrenees provided a shield. Euskara acted as a firewall, discouraging assimilation. Myth and tradition anchored them to their homeland. Together, these forces slowed down history itself. In a globalized world where cultures dissolve into one another, the Basques remind us that survival is possible. They are a bridge between Ice Age hunters, Neolithic farmers, and the modern world, proving that Europe's story is also about endurance. Tell us what you think in the comments. Are the Basques Europe's last link to prehistory, or simply a people who mastered the art of survival? If you've enjoyed this journey into one of Europe's greatest genetic mysteries, hit like, subscribe, and join us here at the Old World Decoded for more untold stories of ancient DNA, forgotten migrations, and the deep roots of human identity.